أكيد
We're coming on the air with breaking news and stunning developments in Israel. Now at war with Hamas.
2023 se ha convertido en uno de los años más violentos en las últimas 2 décadas. By surprise. It took everyone by surprise.
My name is Nada Mohammed. I am 22 years old and I'm from Gaza. I came this year for the first time in the previous 5 years to visit my family in Gaza. Yes. We're actually a big family, like my mom, my dad, 4 sisters, 2 brothers, and two of my sisters are married with their husbands, and I have like 3 nieces and 3 nephews. So we're a lot, mashallah. It was supposed to be a summer vacation for 3 months, but then the war started and destroyed every single plan that I was planning with my family. And on 7th of October, everything is closed. The occupation bombing heavily in a random way and in a crazy way. So we didn't even expect something like this to happen. Like we lived through many wars, like many.
The anger that led to what ended up happening on the Palestinian side has been sort of there for a very, very long time. Again, as a result of the longer occupation, but even before that, the loss of Palestine, events of 1948, but in particular, in the past, let's say 20 years, the siege on the population of Gaza that hasn't allowed people to leave the territory for the most part, but that also has restricted movement inside the territory, what can come in, what can come out, the allowance of individuals to have any sort of freedom or any sort of rights as well.
Yeah, so it kind of just minimizes and reduces this conflict, or, you know, I don't even want to use the term conflict, I want to call it what it is, and it's a genocide. And it doesn't acknowledge the Palestinian side because, you know, Palestine doesn't have any representation in terms like internationally. They have none.
Many people think like Gaza is a jail, but really Gaza is a very beautiful place. Like the restaurants, many restaurants in Gaza, and the beach, of course. So I really loved Gaza. Everyone in Gaza loves Gaza, actually. We loved it so much.
In terms of the beginning of the current conflict or the current settler-colonial conflict, the entire kind of edifice of Zionism is built on settling land, but
it was marketed as anti-settler-colonial in a way, right?
Yeah, or anti-colonial, I think, as well, or anti-imperial, because it was coming as something, this organic nationalist movement for a group that was seen as deserving of a state or a refuge. In the case of the Palestinians, ethnic cleansing was the option from the start. And this is the same mentality that I think we see today. There's still that impetus for more land. The occupation from 1967 of the West Bank, the Gaza Strip, Golan Heights, Sinai Peninsula. This also, the aim is to achieve more land, but there's still Arabs, Palestinians living on that land. So this sort of feeds into what happens up until the present day, this movement by the Israelis to do, I think, you know, throw as many kind of tools as possible into removing the Palestinians or cleansing Palestinians from the land itself. Getting the land, but without having the Palestinians inside that territory, still is the aim of the idea of Zionism.
What social media shows, it's really nothing from reality. Like nothing is talking about how the roads smell from the dead people in the roads. Nothing talking about how the building is bombed and no one is taking the people from under the rubble. So they started to use papers. There is a family under the rubble. No one is talking about how there is literally no water. Like we drink the water and we see the insects inside the water. We see it's dirty water and we drink it. We know that we are going to be sick. We are going to have diarrhea. We are going to vomit after drinking the water, but we drink it. I mean, like, there is multiple days that we didn't have anything to eat. We didn't have bread. But in the war, it's literally the only thing that makes us feel full, feel like we're not hungry. But the occupation stopped entering the flour, which the bread is made of flour. We literally have certain days that we have nothing to eat. Like you have money, but you can't buy anything because there's literally nothing. And when the prices started to become very, very expensive in a crazy way.
We have a violent, brutal occupation that kills Palestinians for sport. I can't tell you how many videos I've seen currently of, Israeli snipers just deliberately targeting people trying to get aid.
There is now the drones that shoots the people. They play a video game with us. Like they have remote control and a drone and shoots us.
It's now coming out to the public and it's now being like more specifically broadcasted. But the problem is Palestinian voices have not been listened to historically, and this has been happening for 75 years. This like these videos and images that we're seeing now, imagine what they did when we didn't have social media. Imagine what they did when, the world was not listening to Palestinians. I think that's something that needs to be highlighted again and again, is that it's not that we just can't live next to them side by side and be peaceful. There cannot be peace between a colonizer and somebody who has been colonized.
It really breaks my heart that, there is no service or internet in Rafah. I try to call them every day. Like I send them a message, but they respond maybe 2 days, after 2 days. So like imagine 2 days and I don't know anything about them. I started to think of everything. It really was a very hard decision to leave them. Very, very hard. Like to leave part of your heart, part of your soul, and in danger, and go to safety. But I have no other choice.
They try to convince you that your faith is pretend and that your language of expression is dead, all under the threat of dismantling your community and self-image. Imagine you're forced to move to their stolen land, to live lost without your lifeline language. Colonization separates to destabilize and make refugees, forcing them to force their way into a seemingly developed country to survive. Just wait until they realize they've traded their sustainable, solid, earth-built homes for a synthetic fate, internally and externally, alienated suburban houses built on the fear of others, only to placate it with a false connection they cannot maintain. I'm supposed to care more than my heart has the capacity, and if I don't care, I'm supposed to be scared. They said go back home, and that's where we thought we were. It doesn't matter anymore because my flight is delayed anyways, due to the weight of our historical baggage, given the distorted adage of pursuing happiness camouflaged to fool us. Because happiness is not something you pursue, as if they have it and you don't. It's already deep within you, within your roots. But Malcolm told us you can't hate the roots and love the tree. So we ripped our roots from the earth and we laid them to dry on the other side so we won't get hurt. So now their toxic concept of industry pillages the earth, and she's exhausted.
We're 2024 and some people are dying from hunger in Gaza now. We're 2024 and my family can't afford to buy bread now. Before the war, our situation wasn't like this. We never needed anyone in our lives. We never take money from anyone in our lives. So when the war happened and there is no income for my dad for the previous 100 days, and now it's 170, he will never afford this. And no one can afford this, actually.
You on Joe Biden? Which side are you on? Cities burning and people yearning, but you don't give it all. APAC's funding all of your campaign does it weigh on you?